Today we're going to walk through our project on updating the password policy at MGA. What we focused on here is identifying where the current system falls short and how we can bring it up to modern cybersecurity standards. We'll go through the problem, what risks exist today, and what we recommend doing about it. So to start off, the main goal of this project was to take a close look at MGA's current password policy and figure out where the gaps are. Based on the white paper, the system right now relies on a lot of older security practices and manual processes, which just aren't enough anymore. So what we're doing is proposing a more modern approach that improves security, but also makes things easier for users and IT. Right now, MGA requires passwords to be at least 8 characters with a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols. You can reuse passwords, and you have to change them once a year. There is multi-factor authentication, but it's not applied everywhere, especially not on local device logins. So on paper it looks okay, but in reality it's outdated compared to today's standards. When we compare this to NIST standards, that's where we really start to see the problem. NIST recommends at least 12 characters, not 8. And even more importantly, the current system still allows people to create predictable passwords, like common words or keyboard patterns. The white paper points out that this makes passwords much easier to crack than people realize. So what does this actually mean in terms of risk? It means MGA is more vulnerable to things like phishing, social engineering, and unauthorized access. There's also a real concern with FERPA compliance if student data gets exposed. And as the white paper highlights, colleges are especially targeted because of the large number of users and accounts. On top of security issues, there's also operational problems. Right now, users can't reset their own passwords. They have to go through IT. That creates a ton of extra support tickets. And according to the white paper, that workload really adds up and pulls IT away from the more important tasks. So our goal with this project was to fix those issues in a practical way. We're strengthening passwords, expanding MFA, adding better access control, and improving the monitoring systems. But we're also making things easier, like adding self-service resets and user trainings. So it's really about balancing security and usability. MFA is already being used, which is a good thing. Right now, MGA uses Microsoft Authenticator, which covers the something you have factor. But the problem is it's not enforced everywhere. So there's still gaps where someone could get into a system without that second layer of protection. So what we're proposing is simple. MFA everywhere, all the time. No exceptions for on-site logins. We also suggest using smarter controls like conditional access and stronger authentication methods for higher level users. The white paper specifically recommends something like FIDO2 tokens for admins to make the attacks even harder. Next is Identity and Access Management, or IAM. This is basically about making sure people only have access to what they actually need. Instead of assigning permissions individually, it's based on roles, like student, faculty, or staff. And the system automatically updates access based on things like enrollment or employment status, which the white paper highlights as a big improvement. Monitoring is another big piece. This system tracks logins, things like location, device, and behavior. If something looks off, it triggers an alert. So instead of waiting for something bad to happen, the system can catch issues early and respond quickly. This is one of the biggest usability improvements. Users will be able to reset their own passwords securely using MFA. That takes a huge burden off of IT. And the white paper points out that this alone can significantly reduce support tickets and improve response times. Now, technology alone isn't enough. We also have to address human behavior. Staff will go through training every 6 months. This covers things like spotting phishing emails and using MFA properly. Because at the end of the day, users are often the first line of defense. For students, the approach is a little different. Training isn't mandatory, but is strongly encouraged and easy to access. This gives them the tools to protect themselves without forcing compliance. It's about awareness more than enforcement. The project is rolled out in phases. We start with planning and risk assessment, then move into implementation and testing. The white paper explains that this phased approach helps avoid disruptions and allows for adjustments along the way. Overall, the timeline is about 5 to 6 months. Of course, there are risks. Things like budget limits, user resistance, and the technical challenges that come with this. One of the biggest risks is people not wanting to adopt the new systems in order to adopt protection. That's why training and a gradual rollout are so important, which the white paper emphasizes. To make this work, we need the right team. That includes a security lead, system admins, and a network engineer. We also need support staff to help users through the transition. It's a small team, but each role is important. In terms of cost, most of the investment is in software and licensing. Implementation and hardware are smaller portions. The total first year cost ranges from about $94,000 to $170,000 based on the white paper. And when you compare that to the cost of a data breach, it's a smart investment overall. So to summarize, stronger passwords make accounts harder to break into. MFA adds another layer of protection across the entire spectrum instead of just in local areas. IAM controls access all the time, and monitoring, resets, and training tie everything together into one system. At the end of the day, this project is about modernization. We're taking an outdated system and bringing it up to current standards. The white paper really emphasizes that combining policy, technology, and training is what makes this effective. And ultimately, this protects everyone, students, faculty, and staff, all together. Thank you.